All right, here's our two-tiered plant stand for outdoors. You can put by your door outside or on the lawn, or you can put it on a deck.
The end of the driveway would be nice.
Yep, we're gonna start to build it here. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is cut the 55-degree angle on the end of my long 8-foot 1x4. And we're using 1x4 pressure-treated lumber or fence post or fence board, actually, I think it is, to make those side bracket pieces going up. Now, to make it consistent with the one I've already made, it goes up about 40 inches from the pointy end.
And you could make this basically any size you want, right?
You can, yeah. That's why I'm not really getting a whole lot into the measurements, because you can really adjust it however you want.
That being said, if you do want this exact size, we do have the plans available in our Etsy shop, and the link to that is in the description box.
Now, so I don't have to set my saw again, I'm going to cut the other 55-degree angle on the other side of this board. The problem with having a small little shop is there's no place to put everything. When you've got everything going,
yeah,
you just have to kind of throw it in a pile.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving around.
I hope you can find it again.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to set this back to 0 degrees for a right angle cut. Got my two side pieces, the longer side pieces that go up, and they are pretty much identical. Just by feeling the ends, they match up perfectly. So that's awesome. So that's those two. Okay, now we're going to work on the shorter side braces, which were at 60 degrees. Use this gauge again, and I'm going to set it to 60 degrees. 60, okay. We'll lock it in. And then I just put it on here and move it until my guide gets up to 60 degrees. And actually the 60-degree slot looks pretty accurate. So that's good there. All right, so this is the first long brace piece that we cut, and this is the second going to be shorter brace piece that we cut, so it's going to be cut off here. I know I wanted about 20 inches from this point up to the top of this second brace piece, so I measured it off, and that's roughly 20 inches. And I use this board here to make sure the feet are flat, using the angles that we cut. And what I'm going to do, and I put just a scrap piece under this wood so it wouldn't fall down. I'm just going to do this. Mark a line there and mark a line there. Now I'm sure there's more accurate and better ways to do this. And if you have any, please chime in the comment section. But this is a quick and easy, dirty way of doing it. All right, so I measured this line I drew for the angle that's going to be at the top, that meets with the top of the long one with my trusty device here. And now I'm lining it up on my miter saw to get the exact same angle, and then I'll lock it in. Okay, this is the one that's done that we just cut. I'm going to put a B for the bottom end of the leg. And this is the other one we still have to cut. Rather than measuring it, I'm just going to transfer the settings by lining it up. Just draw a little line across there.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so now we're going to assemble one of these. So it's going to be basically going like that. And I've got my two lines that I drew earlier there. So I'm just going to line this up, make sure I've got the right, I put a B there, so that's the bottom. This is obviously the top. I'll just line this up here. and up flush against this edge. And then I will put 4 1 1/4 inch wood screws in here. These are just deck screws. It sits nice.
Nice.
Both these angles sit flush with the ground. So, okay, so I've lined the second long brace for the other side up against the first one. And where I attach the back brace here, I'm just going to put a couple of marks. One at one side and one at the other side. And then, tighten that up a bit. Now I want to go down this way. So I'll line it up on this board, up against my mark. Draw a mark, oops, draw a mark down there. And draw a mark down here. There we go. Leg pieces, the side pieces of the frame, which are going to sit like that.
Excellent.
Both sit nicely, and then we're going to make a couple of cross pieces, one to go across here and one to go across the bottom of the back legs. Now, I'm going to make those. I want the space between that board and that board to be 2 feet, 24 inches.
So if you wanted a larger planter box, you would just make it wider.
Yeah. And so I need a piece of wood that's going to be 2 feet plus that thickness plus that thickness. That's 5/8, that's 5/8, so that's 10/8, so that's 1 1/4. So I need a 25 1/4. The screws are going to have to go really close to the ends. It'll split the wood. Trust me, I tried. So I'm going to pre-drill. I'm using a an 1/8 of an inch drill bit here. I'm going to pre-drill a couple holes close to the end, because it is going in here, right? So they're not very wide. Okay, now I'm starting to screw in the top brace on one side. So I'll just make sure it's square. I've got it over here at the edge of the table so that my drill has enough room. And here's my second piece. I've laid it down on its side kind of like this and put the second piece right here so I could line it up. And I'm going to I've got it all lined up with the other board here. I'm just going to put one screw in and then I'll check to make sure it's square. So that's kind of what it's going to look like. Now we'll throw the back piece on. All right, so I made a mistake. This one definitely is 25 1/4, but I forgot that these
Are in the
back
inside.
legs here are on the inside of this. So we want the second board to be just 24, like all the way to the end, so it fits.
And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Glad to answer them. Or if you have any suggestions for other projects you'd love to see, we'd love to hear that too. Or projects that you make that sell really well.
And keep in mind, we are not carpenters.
No.
This is just stuff that I have decided I'd like to try and make. And
We are DIYers, that's for sure. We have the DIY spirit, right, hon?
yes.
And Chris is truly not giving himself enough credit. He's very, very good at this stuff.
There. Okay, that's better. So now we've got our frame made. All we need to make now are the 2 planter pots.
All right.
So I've got the 4 2 feet length 1x6s, and they're going to basically attach like that. 2 of them. One's going to go there and these 2 together. So to do that, the easiest way I found to do that is to hold one piece in a vise and then put one board over top like this with my first hole. Alrighty, it's taking shape. So there's kind of like the back piece. There's going to be two sides, and there's going to be a front piece is going to slope out just a little bit. So that piece can't be a 1x6 because when it slopes out to be even with the top here, it's going to be a little longer. So I've got some 1x8s that I'm going to have to rip a little bit off them to make it a little bit longer. All right, so now I'm going to make the sides, sort of the ends of the boxes. So it's going to sit in right in here, and this is also a 1x6. So I'm going to just do this kind of by feel, hold it in there. I'm going to mark where the end goes. It's going to be here, and then I'm going to have it slope up. I don't know, you can really choose your angle, but I'm just going to kind of do something like that and just connect these two ends, these 2 points I made. Oops. So there, I'm going to cut 4 of these, 2 for each box, and they're going to look like that. They're going to sit right in here. Then we'll screw them in. All right, so I've cut out my 4 end pieces. There they are. They turned out quite well. All I did was I cut out one to the angle and everything, and then I just lined it up with the piece of wood and drew on the next piece of wood, but always use the same one. Never use like say I cut this one. I always put that one aside and use that same one to measure off all the other ones. Otherwise, if you're off a little bit on each one, you'll be way off at the end. And these are going to sit in here like that. There's that one. There's a huge knot right there, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to screw in there without ruining something. So
let's find out together.
It is screwed back in here. No, I think I might put the screw right here.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't really matter. It's still going to be fine. So that's basically how it's going to be, and we'll put the other one on, and then you just have that last piece that goes up like this. All right, so now that we have our 2 boxes almost built, we have that last one longer piece that's going to go on the front, the side. So I'm using a 1x8 for that, and I'm going to need 2 2-foot lengths of it, so 4 feet, and this is exactly 4 feet. So before I actually cut it into 2 2 feet, I'm going to run it on a table saw to take off. Find out how much I have to take off. So it's going to have to be about 6 inches long, maybe 6 1/4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to measure off 2 feet, so I can basically cut this board in half. And because my miter saw is not a sliding miter saw, and it is not, the blade's not wide enough to cut this entire thing, what I'm going to do is cut it by hand. 2 2-foot lengths. All right, moving right along. I'm going to put the flat edge with the cut side down at the bottom, and this nice kind of finished edge, or whatever you want to call it, at the top.
Yeah, the treated edge, I guess.
Yeah, the treated edge. And I'm just going to line up the top and let the bottom fall where it falls. So I've got my piece lined up here with the top.
And we try to bring you guys projects that we've worked on, we've created, we've sold before. We have 2 kids. We know how expensive life is. We work full-time jobs. And we try to come up with these projects that you could do on the nights or on the weekend, and that sell really well for us, at least. Everybody's got hobbies. Sam and Chris like to dirt bike. It's quite an expensive hobby. These little projects have helped a lot.
Okay, so now we've got our 2 boxes. Ta-da!
Oh, looks great, huh?
1 and 2. So now we've got the final assembly going on here. And this is kind of awkward because you need about 5 hands to do this. I basically want to put this up a little bit off the ground, this bottom one. And what I'm doing for reference is, if you want to zoom in here, I am going to line up this back corner with the back of this piece of wood. And then I'm going to level it off, make sure it's leveled this way. And then I'm going to come over here, do the same thing and level it the other way. And to make this a little easier, I'm going to try and use a couple of blocks of wood here to hold this in place. So I don't have to spend so much time. There we go. That's going to work awesome. All right. So now, theoretically, all I have to do is push these back, line them up with the back edge of that foot there. There we go. Look at that. Now, is this level? That one is definitely level, and that one's in the right place. So I'm going to throw 4 screws in the side here. Going to screw it right to the side of the box. I'm not going to bother pre-drilling holes for this because it's far enough away from the edge that it shouldn't split it. These Dewalt drivers are awesome.
Are they?
Yeah, you can't kill them. Get yourself a driver and an impact. And
we'll put a link to it in the description below.
and a few batteries and you're good to go. All right, the other side thankfully is lined up and level. So we'll throw some screws in this side and then we will be done, I think. Okay, folks, we have completed.
Here, let me step back. There we go.
Our stand-up planter, the 2-tiered planter. Here we go.
And just to let you know, this took probably 45 minutes real time.
Well,
maybe a half an hour.
No, maybe an hour or so.
But the more you do it, the faster you get.
Yeah, if you don't have to move every single tool around every time you have to use something like we do.
Yes. We've been talking about ways to redo the shop to try to make it a little more user-friendly. If you have any suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, so you can put potted plants in here, or you can throw the soil right in and plant them there. There's drainage because there's a big...
yeah.
It's not sealed, so...
Yeah.
Water can get through.
Yeah, and pressure treat it so it will be able to withstand the elements.
Yeah, it's got a nice handle up here to drag around. It's not really very heavy.
No, it's great.
All right, hope you enjoyed this this little project.
Yeah, and subscribe if you're interested. It's we hope to have a video out every week, and we hope they just keep getting better and better. And thanks for everyone who's watched so far. We really appreciate it.
And join us for the next one.
Yeah. All right. See you.